Hello and welcome to Reportage. This is Daanish. Nabi. In today's segment of Reportage, I shall have a discussion with senior lawyer Malavika Rajkotia about her new book, Partition Times, which is published by Speaking Tiger. This book is a personal journey of a family from Pakistan to India. More from the author. Ma'am, just for my readers, you in the book, you have also briefly mentioned about the Sikh history. And I want to start this discussion with the Sikh history. Explain it for the viewers, for my viewers, that what was this Sikh history all about, the the rift they had with the Mughal Empire. How did it basically start? Because you have written in the book during the Mughal era, during the Akbar times, the relations between Sikhs and the Mughal Empire was perfectly going well. What happened during the Jahangir's time?
So basically, there was a support for by one of the gurus for the rebellious son for Khusro, which Jahangir had taken umbrage at, and that's when the rift kind of begins, and then it became a chasm during when Guru Tegh Bahadur, the 9th Guru, was beheaded. And that is really when the battle, when Guru Gobind then took on the battle against the Mughal ruler. And the issue was that it wasn't against the Mughal ruler because of a religion. It was against the oppression.
So basically, these were the political wars, not about the religion.
Not at all, not at all. And that is, many Sikhs also misunderstand that. But it is always, in fact, Guru Sahib, the 10th Guru, has always said that all methods of religion are to reach the same divine. Awwal Allah Noor Upai, Kudrat ke hum bande, means we are all part of the same. So it developed a political identity under Guru Gobind Singh, but it was supported by the spiritual aspect as well.
Which is completely understood. Yes, let me take this forward. You have also briefly mentioned about the Ranjit Singh's times of Punjab. Why couldn't Ranjit Singh's successor stabilize Punjab?
Well, in that we've mentioned that there were a series of sons who were then, who died. Khadak Singh died till you reach the last, which is Dalip Singh and Rani Jinda, who's left as the caretaker, so to speak. But it was really the infighting between the powerful Sardars after Ranjit Singh.
And British played its part as well in destabilizing the Sikh regime.
Sorry?
And British played their part as well.
Yes. So the British, till Ranjit Singh's time, had stayed away. But they had started circling closer after he died, seeing that it was already an unstable state. And there is a contemporaneous poet called Shah Muhammad, who then describes the role of Jinda. Because after all, the Anglo-Sikh wars were lost because of betrayal by Sikh leaders and Sardars. But Shah Muhammad's explanation is that Rani Jinda was the one who actually wanted the British to come in so that she could be relieved of the pressure of the army fueled by the Sardar power.
Ma'am, one of your great grandfathers, Sardar Man Singh, which you have also mentioned in the book, Was he
My great grandfather's grandfather.
great grandfather? What was he responsible for killing Bahadur Shah Zafar's son? When you write in the book that he was the man responsible for taking him from Humayun Fort to the Red Fort.
Yes. So I have mentioned that when the guide in Red Fort was telling us that Huni Darwaza, and he mentioned Sardar Man Singh, and my father then said, "That's your ancestor," and I was extremely embarrassed. But later on, when I read Dalrymple's account, I learned that it was actually Hodson who had shot the princess.
And not your great great ancestors.
No. Mhm.
You have also written about your father that he was friends with Akbar Bukti, the Baloch rebel. Do you have any more anecdotes to share about Akbar Bukti, which your father may have relayed to you?
Yeah, in fact, the two that I have mentioned, I mean, there are couple of others which I can't share because those are more about Bhukti's very feudal lifestyle. He was married at that time when he was still in school. So they lived by very different cultural values, and I wouldn't want to write about them. But certainly the friendship, because they were in school together, is what I have mentioned.
Ma'am, you have also mentioned about your father, your family in Pakistan, and how did they travel to India at the time of partition. Why do you think it's necessary to write down all these stories for the future generations?
I, well, they are stories that I grew up with. They have gone with my parents. I used to keep going back. There's language which I have lost after my parents. I have received it. I have received these stories. I have received this history. I also received language, and there I feel inadequate because I've not been able to communicate, like I said, pass it on to my children. But what I can surely do is pass these stories, which then will, they are already secondhand with me, and then even that will die. So I just felt it was important to write them, number one. Number two, it's also a method of processing grief which I tried. So it's exploring my parents with uh, to explain them even to myself.
So, how, how important is language in all this to connect to your roots?
I think language is what nourishes the roots. English today is an Indian language, so I don't believe in it as a colonial language at all. We have a uniquely Indian English, which I'm very proud of. But there is a mother tongue, which nourishes the roots.
And Punjabi is one of the sweetest languages we have around.
I'm glad that you say so. Most people seem to think that it's a crude language. It's a
Absolutely not.
stunning love poetry is written.
Written in Punjabi, absolutely, absolutely. Ma'am, in early 1980s, when the 1984 was about to happen, you again, along with your family, visit Pakistan, visit your village in Pakistan. Explain for the viewers, share some of the anecdotes for the viewers. How was it going back to your village?
Yeah, like I mentioned, it was the centenary year of my father's school, Aitchison College, which was otherwise called the Chiefs College, one of the four that were set up by the British. The other three are in India side, which is Mayo, Scindia, and Delhi College, Indore. So in West Punjab, Lahore was Aitchison College, and my father was a student there. So to celebrate the centenary is when we'd gone and we stayed in Lahore, and then we visited Gujranwala, which is the Gujranwala district. So what my father's village then, as I have said, was set up by my great grandfather when he bought that estate, which was called Rajkot after his my Pardadi called it Rajkot. Rajwant was my great grandfather's name.
Sorry to interrupt. Is Rajkotia coming from that Rajkot only?
Yes, Rajkotia comes from there. Rajkotia comes from.
So continue, please.
Yes. So that was, so we visited Rajkot, and it was of course very moving. And out of all the staff that had been left behind, there was one who continued to be there, who met my father, and they talked for a long time and so on. And and my father, I hadn't seen him cry, but I saw him break down when he saw his house and took us to the room where he'd been born. So I've described that. It was a very emotionally draining experience, even for us to watch. And then we visited my mother's village.
And where you get that chapel as a gift, because she told you something like कि बहू हमारे घर आई है. Yes. Please talk about it.
So, then we went. So one of the ladies of the house of the Choti Koti sent us a message to say, please come here as well. That was your great grandfather's younger brother's house. So please, and that's where we are living. Please come. So we went there, and the old lady asked her daughter-in-law to say in Punjabi ke meri tille wali jutti leke aao. So she said, "In navi main kharidi hai tille wali jutti. Please try it on." So my mother tried it on, and it fitted her. And then my mother took it off to wear her regular shoes, and which were walking shoes, because we were going to be walking a lot. And she said, "No, you are my daughter-in-law, and please, I'd like you to see ke tusi ye jutti pa ke karo jao. ससुराल जा रहे हो, मतलब तुसी जुत्ती पाके जाओ." So then my mother packed the other shoe and walked away with walked in the till.
Jutti paake jao means ki wear this jutti only,
Wear
right?
it and leave. Wear it and leave. Yeah, this is my blessing to you. Wear it and leave.
Ma'am, my last question. Would you like to visit your home again?
Yes. But sometimes when one visits, everything changes, right? So I have a memory of it with my parents. Without them, it is something else. But of course, I'd like to visit for the language again, because the Punjabi is still closer to the language I've grown up with than even the language spoken this side.
Ma'am, what about your own children? Are they interested in knowing all these things? Are they interested in someday visiting that place again?
Who, my children?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure. I mean, they both have enjoyed, they've read it, they've been very fascinated. For example, they didn't even know that Rajkot was named after Rajwant. They just thought it's a village there, but they don't know that it was set up by Rajwant and so on. So they have been fascinated by these stories, and their exposure to it is limited because it was their Nanihal. It's not their Dadka.
And I'm sure they would love to visit someday back to their roots. They would love to. Yes, I'm sure. Ma'am, pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Let me hold your book once again for the viewers so they buy it, read it, and understand what has happened to us in 1947. Absolute pleasure talking to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to our channel Reportage and press the bell icon to remain updated.